us. We need Murdoch. He's being interviewed.
I'd have it all.
It's all right. He'll hear me start the meeting. I'm just waiting for her to tell me she's recording. Okay? All right. The chair is going to call the January 7th, 2025 meeting of the City Council to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Redpath, will you please call the roll?
Alderman Redpath, oh, sorry about that. Alderman Gregory.
Here.
Alderman Williams.
Here.
Alderman Rockford.
Present.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Here.
Alderman Nitriano.
Here.
Alderman Carlson.
Here.
Alderwoman Conley.
Present.
Alderman Donlin.
Here.
Alderman Hanauer.
Here.
Mayor Busher.
Present.
Mayor Busher, there's a quorum is present.
Thank you, Clerk Redpath. The civility pledge, in the interest of civility, I pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community, and understanding that we each may have different ideas for achieving that objective. At this time, we do have a proclamation for the American Business Club, so I'm going to ask them to come up and stand behind me at the podium, and I'm going to ask Chief of Staff Disco to bring me the proclamation, if you would.
American Business Club.
All right.
You guys are always in the back.
All right, I'm going to let everybody get congregated first here. Okay. Welcome. This proclamation states, whereas the American Business Club of Springfield, Illinois, is a non-for-profit organization tied to National AmBucks, Inc., in which all members are dedicated to inspiring mobility and independence with people with disabilities. And whereas the American Business Club of Springfield, devoted to the mission of AmBucks, is the largest AmBucks chapter in the nation, thank you very much, consisting of 300 individuals. And whereas since 1954, the American Business Club of Springfield has operated concessions at the grandstand on the Illinois State Fairgrounds during the past 70 state fairs. And whereas since 2004, the American Business Club of Springfield has managed admissions and parking for the Illinois State Fairgrounds during the past 20 state fairs. And whereas through this relationship with the state of Illinois and its other fundraising efforts, the American Business Club of Springfield has dedicated tens of thousands of hours to community service and donated over $5 million towards providing Amtrikes to children, adults, and veterans, endowing scholarships for therapists, grants to dozens of local community organizations, as well as numerous other projects at the local, state, and national level. Therefore, I, Misty Busher, Mayor of the City of Springfield, together with the Springfield City Council, am going to proclaim that this Friday, January 10th, 2025, shall be American Business Club of Springfield Day in the great city of Springfield, Illinois, to acknowledge the accomplishments, the unequaled charitable giving, and selfless contributions of the American Business Club of Springfield and its membership. Let's thank them for all they have done. This is their president, Jerry Boster. Jerry,
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. And I'm going to let Jerry say a few words. Calling you.
Since I had no idea I had to say anything when I got here tonight, I would just like to say thank you to Mayor Busher and the council for this proclamation. We do a lot of good for the city of Springfield and the city of Springfield and all the surrounding areas, and we have a lot of fun doing it. And that's
Get
it.
to celebrate for the next 3 days.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Cisco, will you take a picture that we can get to them, please? We're going to stand together and Mike will take a picture. And then we'll get you the.
Can I hold this in front of my
Yeah.
face?
Do the alders want to stand up behind the ABC Club as well? Do you want to be in the?
I ain't tall enough. I ain't tall enough. They
Don't
won't
want the
see
mic
me.
in my face. Cover my.
Sorry.
Is this in the way, Michael, or are we okay? Okay. Come on in, Alderman.
Nice to get you back. Thank you.
Good to see you again.
I'm tired. What's going on? Snow style.
All right. The chair will entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the December 2024 special city council meeting and approve the minutes.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes of the special meeting? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. You don't vote. The chair will now entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the December 2024 regular city council meeting and approve the minutes. I think that's right. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes of the regular meeting? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The chair will now entertain a motion to incorporate the pre-council first reading of ordinances into the record of this council meeting.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the pre-council first reading? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion to incorporate the pre-council reading of the consent agenda into the record of this council meeting.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The chair will entertain a motion to place the consent agenda on final passage.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none, voting will now be open. All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. Alderman Hanauer, how do you vote?
Sorry, I thought I hit it. Come on.
And so the motion passes with 9 voting yes, none voting no. Agenda items 2024-333, 2024-539, 2024-540, and 2024-541 remain tabled or in committee. Is there action on these?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to pull 2024-539 for the debate agenda.
Second.
We have on a motion and a second to pull 2024-539 to the debate agenda. Any discussion on pulling that ordinance out and putting it on debate? Seeing none, all those in favor of removing the agenda item and putting it on debate, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. So the next item on the agenda, and I'll put them in order here, would be item number 2024-5. Since 539's up, are you guys okay if I go out of order and take that, okay, on the debate agenda, because it's on the screen? Okay, so we're just going to take this out of order. Is that all right, Corporation Counsel? Okay. So there's an 2024-539 is an ordinance authorizing execution of agreement with the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity to accept, execute, and supplementally appropriate International Tourism Grant NOSA ID 1607-54990 agreement, excuse me, beginning July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025 in the amount of $222,500 for the Springfield Convention and Visitors Bureau. The chair will now entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we accept, that we pass.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to pass ordinance 2024-539. Now we will open it up for discussion. Are there any alders who have discussion on this ordinance?
Can someone answer what this, I'm sorry.
Alderman Hanauer?
Yeah. Scott, can you talk to us a little bit about this? I think we get this every year, right?
Yep, this is our annual international grant through DCO. This pays for our international travel and international advertising. It's a match grant, and we use salaries to match the grant.
Okay.
So
Thank
no
you.
additional expenditures.
If you'll stay there, Alderman Gregory.
Yeah, real quick. So the information that Mr. Griffin sent us, it said something about, was it a $1.3 million grant total?
I think we sent a different grant. So I sent the new grant through about 15 minutes before the meeting or so.
Okay.
That was a different grant.
Of course, we don't have a problem accepting funds, but I'm
Yeah.
just trying to have clarity and know.
It's not the
exactly
1.3. This is 222,500.
Okay.
It's matching grant. This is our annual international marketing grant.
Okay. And I know you say we get this annually, but is this forever? Is this?
No, this annually, they'll come out, the DCO will come out with this, and when they offer it, obviously, we accept because it pays for our international marketing and our international travel that we do for these sales missions with the Illinois Office of Tourism.
What's our backup plan if we don't get that?
We'd be paying for it ourselves.
Alderman Gregory, I'll answer
hopefully-
that. They're not traveling out of the country then?
Hopefully that can, yes,
I just want-
100%.
How do we keep it going? Thank you. I
So,
appreciate it.
yep.
Any other alders that have questions or discussion? All right, thank you, Scott. Seeing none, the voting will now be open. All those in favor of the ordinance, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. And the ordinance passes with 9 voting yes, none voting no. The next item on the agenda, on the debate agenda, is item number 2024-517, an ordinance accepting bids and authorizing execution of contract UE 25-10-34, line clearance services for 2-year term for the electric division with Wright Tree Service Incorporated for an amount not to exceed $6,500,000 for the Office of Public Utilities. The chair will entertain a motion to place agenda item number 2024-517 on final passage.
So move.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item from the alders? Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I just want to let Doug Brown know, I've had, again, and I'm sure no one's surprised, a lot of complaints, specifically with one section of my ward with tree trimming. So, Doug, just want to let you know, I'd like to talk to you a little more detail about some of the concerns that have been raised, and maybe see if we can make sure that this new company has a more clear understanding of the, what our expectations are for tree trimming. And I will reach out to you again about that. So thank you, Mayor. Tree trimming, and I know keeping the lines clear is critically important, but I've also seen some examples of trees being really cut up. Yeah, I know, we all have. So just want to make sure that there's an understanding and that we try to increase that cycle as best as we can so that they don't have to be, whacked and then try to recover for a year, 10 years. So thank you, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am. Alderman Gregory.
No, I echo those statements, but I'm not gonna vote for this contract, and I hope the next time we have this contract from whoever gets it, that we have a sound game plan of what we're gonna do to stop having to spend $6.5 million every so often, every 3 years about these trees. Alderman Hanauer, you spoke on it. We gotta come up with a game plan. We can't keep, going $6.5 million every 3 years to cut trees that's gonna grow back. That makes no sense. We might as well cut the bad ones. We plant good ones that are small. We're getting these grants, match this thing going up and do that. I think we got enough time with this ordinance to pass, but I think we got to start game planning towards that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Hanauer.
Yeah, Doug, we had discussion. Can you tell me what did you find out it would cost if we started? Wait till you hear this, Sean. You're gonna.
I mean, it's kind of it's a rough kind of a estimate because it's it's kind of hard to debate as far as like how many trees are under the power lines, but just looking at the amount of work that it takes to do a lot of those trees, if we were to take trees all the way down, you're probably looking at least 5 times as much. So instead of spending $3 million, you'd be spending 15, which that'd be a rate increase for something like that. That's as a minimum. It could be more depending upon really what the size of the trees are that we encounter.
I'm not really advocating for all of them that they do. I think that some of them can be cut to sustain and maybe not go there, but some of them that we're cutting, there's nothing left. We might as well take them down. And I leave that to the professionals to make those calls, but we do have some like that just need to go. There's no point in leaving them with that. So that's my. They have no branches no more. They cut like skinny as me, dog. There's no point in having them. For real, I'm being real. So thank you, appreciate it.
Stay there.
Alderman Rockford.
And also, we mentioned was 2 weeks ago when we were talking about cutting these trees. There's number one in the older parts of town where you got the power lines down the alleys and everything's above ground, you know, where the west side, everything's underground. But, you know, there's some of these branches that you get heavy snow and you get ice on them, they're gonna come down. And I don't know why they just leave the one branch hanging out there. Just whack it off and you know, cut it off and get rid of it, you know. But maybe you can get with Director Fuchs and he gets a bunch of trees now and then and get some cut them down and plant them small ones.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk to Mr. Fuchs.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other alders with any questions? Okay, seeing none, the voting will now be open. All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. Oh, sorry. Hang on one second. She's getting ready. My apologies. Are we ready now? Okay. And the motion passes with 8 voting yes and 1 voting no. The next item on the agenda is item number 2024-536, an ordinance approving the appointment of Amy Raising as Director of the Office of Planning and Economic Development for the City of Springfield. And I guess I'll ask for a motion first.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. So as we get into discussion, Amy is here, so I'd like for her to come up if you don't mind.
Run.
So I'll let you, for those who didn't get to hear you speak at the committee meeting, introduce yourself again. If
Okay.
you don't mind.
My name is Amy Raising. For the last year and a half, I've served as an operations coordinator for grants in the Office of Planning and Economic Development. My background is over 35 years in community service, community development, relationship building, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
And we do have a couple alders who have signed up to speak. Alderwoman Conley.
No, I'm okay. I'll let Alderman Gregory go first.
Okay, Alderman Gregory.
He signed up twice. I figured he really had.
I just wanted to, I just want to ask some questions. So, first off, I'm glad to meet you. So what do you say, before I ask my questions, what do you say for, the residents of the city who may feel like you don't hold the qualifications, for this particular office, as far as, your background being in more of a not-for-profit grants? I'm excited to hear things like that, right? But you know, I was perplexed when someone asked me about the business development side of it and your experience there and the need of that in that office.
Sure, absolutely. So business development is something that falls into the roles that I've had over the years. I have partnered with businesses, have helped businesses develop marketing plans, help businesses have more of a presence. For instance, working in a nonprofit, many of you know that a lot of nonprofits, our club was just celebrated, are looking for ways to promote themselves, looking for ways to get the word out about the good works that they do. A great way to involve a small business, a locally owned business, is to get them involved in partnering with a nonprofit, get them involved to share the message, get their employees involved in volunteer service. I've done that throughout my years. I own a small business myself, just a consulting business that I've done over the years, so I know how to manage and market my own business as well. But I just really feel like I would have never been successful in the fundraising that I've done, in the grant writing and the partnerships that I've built, if I didn't know how to make connections and didn't know how to build relationships. And I think that's what you're doing when you're bringing a business to Springfield. You're building relationships and you're looking for the best way to optimize those services that you have.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So,
Thank you.
Can you talk to me, how are you going to pivot your experience and bring together entities? Because I holler about this, right? I feel
Sure.
like there's a lot of people getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to do the same thing. And we see some growth in some areas, and other areas we don't. How are you planning to bring this all together with all of these entities? We just got a new city planner. How are we going to work this all
Right,
together?
we have, and I think that we've made some strides toward that. I think in the last year, and again, I'm going to speak directly to what I've been doing here at the city in the last year, is looking at some processes, looking at ways that we can empower people not just work in silos, but have some cross Communication. Communication is key. Transparency is key. We have started having some community meetings out in the community, and we can plan on continuing that. We just, just in the last few days, as we looked at Val's retirement and my potential appointment, have already, I can't tell you how full my calendar is, and I'm excited about it, in meetings and collaborations, and how we can talk to one department over another. Just here in this chambers tonight, I talked with Director Metzger from OBM about a grant and something that was going on. I could have talked regarding Scott's grant that he just talked about with tourism. So there's a lot of collaboration that goes on amongst our departments. Just talking about trees and referencing Director Fuchs. I can tell you, yes, we do have new trees coming into town. We have set a strategy that we're going to plant over 200 new trees a year, working toward a goal in a 5-year plan. So when we're writing grants, when we're putting some of the things in place, we're thinking forward too. What are we going to do and how are we going to do it? But we also have to take a pause and look at the capacity that we have, because we also know sometimes we get ahead of ourselves. And so I want to look at bringing partners and businesses together so we're not all duplicating services, but rather finding a way to meet the needs, or at least make a strong attempt to meet the needs and to hear what those needs are.
I'm sorry, I told you I was going to save my
That's
question
okay.
for after
You
Christmas.
told me you were going to have
I know.
questions. I appreciate it.
So, all right, to the grants part, to your specialty. The grants, particularly for my ward, is very, very, very important. And one of them that I'm very proud of, that I work with our state senator and Alderwoman Conley on, is our cannabis grant. That has had its hangups. And I don't want to go back. I want to go forward. I really must say that particular source of income for our community is very, very, very important, and it can play out dividends. What's your thoughts on that? And where are we at on that? I know we had 6 of them. Are we moving towards that?
I'm not prepared to address exactly what we have and what we don't have for those, but what I can tell you is that one of the things that we want to do, and we've talked about, and Director Yazel was working on with our team as well, is that we know that sometimes it's very intimidating for a citizen to want to apply for a grant, to know how to do it, or homeowner assistance, or whatever it is, through any of the programs that we offer in OPED. And we want to be able to have more opportunities to tell somebody, come on in and we'll help you fill out that application, help you complete that application, be out in the community where we can do some of those things. One of the things that I proposed, and Mayor Boucher knew about, and I've talked to a couple of you about too, is that I'm going to do a grants writing 101, because there are many grants that the city holds that we can't apply, or we can't have partners and sub-recipients, but we can encourage a nonprofit, a 501c3, to apply for a grant that we know is out there with one of the state or federal agencies. And I'd like to be able to offer, just some tips and tools and resources for them to make it maybe not quite as intimidating. So again, a lot of community outreach, and that's what I've done, and that's what I want to continue to try to do.
Okay. I can't say, I must say that I'm disappointed that you're not prepared to speak on that more, because I think that it's so important to our community that we have to have a game plan on where we're at. The reason why I say things like this, right? Two of the cannabis grantees, they're food trucks, right? So in my mind, I'm saying, okay, they have it, they got the grant, they were awarded, they got a lot, they're straight. No. So I get frustrated a little bit, right, when they call me like, well, Sean, I got the grant, but I'm on a lot, it's going to be rezoned, or let me look at it. We can't rezone it, so now what do we do?
Okay, Alderman Gregory, I apologize that I can't speak to that, because while I was working as an operations coordinator for grants, I was working with the various departments throughout the city. I did not work on some of those specialty grants like cannabis or the TIF grants and things like that. So while I have been in place as a interim director for the last 3 days, I haven't had the opportunity to really dive into that. But I hear what you're saying. I am the type of person that if I say I'm going to get you information, I will. So I would be happy to come back and talk about that. I'd be happy to entertain meetings with you to go over that, to hear what you have to say. I was copied on an email recently that you've shared some information with us that you're hearing in the community. And, you know, I want to be a part of those things, but I'm not equipped to speak to that either here nor there.
Okay.
This evening.
I'll move on. So, okay, I guess I'll say this instead of asking about every grant that I know that we have. But, you know, we have the Recompete grant, we have
Yes.
those things. I'm very, very, very interested in how we're going to formulate those things. They're very, very important. But I will say that February 1st, per ordinance, we're supposed to open that back up.
Yes.
We went from 69 applications to, 18 applications in the second year. And this has been, 4 or 5 years in availables, and we've only gotten 2 years out of it. So, people are losing faith in the city to deliver something that is there's other cities that have done something similar with their cannabis money, with what it's actually meant for, on the state map if you venture there. And I was going to say this.
But thank you for bringing that to my absolute attention. And I do have those deadlines on a calendar that Director Gazel passed to me. So again, I have priorities, but I was looking for this opportunity tonight to address you and to see if I would be appointed to this position and how I can continue to do. I am continuing in my grants role 100% right now as well. So I did meet 2 grant deadlines today that we had, and that has been kind of the priority that I've had as I've come into this.
Okay. Last question, and I'm done. What's your vision for the East Side as far as your job?
My vision is that, again, we need to improve transparency and communication. And I know we can just say that, and those are just words, but I think that what we need to do is, again, go to where we can be in settings that it's easy for people to get to when they want to have a community meeting, when we're taking community input. At one time, there would be meetings held here at the city, or maybe in the library, which has excellent meeting rooms. But we've had success, and maybe we needed to advertise it more, and there's things that we need to do, and there's steps that we need to take, and there's steps that we can all learn from. But we're making an effort to be out in the community and to go out into the community and hear what people have to say. Now, we can't always resolve that immediately. We can't always honor everybody's wishes as all of us would like it to be, but we can listen. And I think that that's one of the things that, I've been accused over the years of having a servant's heart, and that's what you have when you work in the nonprofit field, and I bring that to this. Again, I cannot make promises I can't keep. I do not want to speak on things that I'm not fully equipped to speak on tonight, and I'll be the first one to say that, and I will get you answers, and I will have meetings. But I do want to say that my vision is to continue on a route of communication and listening and seeing how we can find solutions together to move toward that. And I know that just sounds like a campaign speech. It's not, but that's truly what I believe. And anybody that you would talk to from my past would tell you that's what I've always done.
Well, thank you. I was really speaking on more of the development side, but I agree with that. I think outreach is important. I think in a community like mine is so very, very, very important to get out and about and be visible and be accessible to
Correct.
people. So I'll wrap up my comments by saying I am a type of guy, and this sometimes gets me busy, right? Is I try to find ways to say yes, find ways to work through the problems and the barriers that we all up here, all 10 of us, acknowledge that exist. We've done some things. We've passed some ordinances that are the first times ever. The meeting that we had in HUD in the celebration of the 50 years that we talked about, that was a first. I don't know why that was a first. That's crazy, but it was. So that's what type of person I am, is more so finding how we help people be successful, especially when they already been awarded a grant and they went through that. So thank you very much for your explanation. I'll let my colleagues continue.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Donlin.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Ms. Raising, thanks for being here this evening. I just have a couple of questions.
Sure.
First one is related to kind of the macro level. And, I get this question every once in a while from constituents and more from business people in the community. They don't quite understand the relationship between the Office of Planning and Economic Development and the Growth Alliance. Could you explain, what you envision that relationship being and and explain actually what it is presently first. I think that would be
Currently.
helpful for everybody to hear.
Correct, and I've actually had one initial meeting with them as well. What we are doing is, looking, well, first of all, you help to fund Growth Alliance. One of the things that they're charged with is doing some of that higher level immediately kind of marketing, attracting folks. And then what we're doing is looking at then working together with them to help vet that, to help look at that, to help look at the overall plan and where that would impact and how that would impact us. So we're not relying on them simply to announce something and say this is happening, but rather to maybe be that wingman, be that venter that comes in and gets that information for us, and then we work with them and through them.
So what I hear you saying is they're more the sales arm for economic development purposes.
In some cases, yes.
And that
yes.
goes outside the community. I know we have some things that we do,
Sure.
even elected officials do. But what are we doing and what do you envision? Because to me, the most important thing to focus on are existing businesses, expanding and making sure that we keep those here in Springfield and flourish, and talk a little bit about that.
And not losing those local businesses.
Right.
Giving them, empowering them to stay and to have the resources and tools that they need. And I agree with that totally. I can't speak, Alderman Donlin, to an exact practice that I will be putting into place or that I have already laid out. But I do know that again, is something that just in the last year and a half that has been happening throughout our office and throughout our discussions as a team, as a leadership team, when we would meet with Director Yazel and talking about how we could get out there and really get to know those businesses. In the last few months, since the city planner has also joined our team, not even the last month, the last few weeks, since the city planner has joined our team, I've got to tell you that will tell you right now that I feel like I have a strong synergy with that city planner, the wealth of knowledge that he brings from his experience in working with business development, working with businesses, knowing our community. We both have been here in this town. I've lived here since 2000, been a part of this community. I actually, for the last 5 years, worked for a 70-year anniversary community in our business, serving seniors in this community for over 70 years. I know the value of keeping businesses like that alive. I helped Illinois Presbyterian Home do the growth that they had to build new buildings for seniors that is a new model of what seniors are looking for when it comes to independence, but also assistance that they need. I managed that building project. I fundraised for it. I helped to do the payouts for it. I helped to manage every bit of that, working with local businesses. The resources from the countertops bought locally to the appliances bought locally were something that I managed during that process there. So, I was the one standing in Sam's Best Brand placing the orders. I know the value of keeping businesses focused on Springfield and trying to find resources so they can stay here. Because it's hard with more e-commerce and more people wanting to, not leave home and to shop online, for instance, for retail businesses, for people wanting to go out to eat with someone somewhere that, is a known commodity versus somewhere new that's trying a new menu, trying a new type of food, and I want to encourage that. We as a group here at OPED, actually last year we started doing this. We started to go out whenever we went out for lunch as a group, which few and far times between, but we would go to one of those local businesses. We've been to some of those businesses that we've helped to fund and want to make sure that we have a presence there and they know who they're working with from our department. That's what I can offer you. Again, just as I told Alderman Gregory, I know this is a big responsibility, and I know I have a lot of charges to move forward with, but I will be happy to put things together as I have a little bit of time to do so and more opportunity to do so.
Well, thanks for that answer, but just a word of caution, make sure you keep your calendar clear enough where you cannot lose the vision, because that's so important. Get caught up in the minutia sometimes.
Exactly.
And then finally, I would ask, and I'd love to sit down and chat with you and your staff, it's been a while, about, in particular, I have to bring up some Ward 9, some redevelopment along West Jefferson, Bruns Lane, and even out at the airport. There's a lot of opportunities out there, I think, that we haven't put forward and need to do that, and there's other areas as well. So thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you.
Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Amy, for coming in and for putting your name forward for this. I'm going to speak a little bit. I apologize, Alderwoman Purchase. I have constituents who own businesses downtown, and I have a number of constituents who reach out on a fairly regular basis with concerns about the health of our downtown and wanting to see that grow. So just kind of wondering, you know, I know you from Fair Hills, which is in Ward 8, and seeing the remarkable growth that did happen there. Where are you situated? What are you looking at for downtown? It is, yes, it's in Ward 5, but it's. And 2. Sorry, Sean. Apologies. I'm thinking of the shopping areas. But, you know, there are a number of people who feel, you know, who hold our downtown very near and dear to their hearts and want to see that grow and expand. So I just want to, you have planning and development in this title. I'd like to know kind of where are you on thoughts and concepts for downtown, and what sort of outreach and collaboration will you be doing with the existing owners and businesses, restaurants that are down there right now?
Right. Again, excellent question, and I know what the needs are. I have a bullet-pointed list of where we're looking. I mean, I shouldn't say I know what the needs are, but I anticipated where we need, where you're mentioning those focuses. And I know that last year's our fire and things like that, and the impact that it had on downtown businesses, the impact it continues to have on downtown businesses. I know that we need to look at keeping that historic part of our downtown, but at the same time making it user-friendly, making it walkable. We've been talking a lot with grants as well. We have some grants right now that we made it to the merit stage in that will implement just a tiny bit. I know you just talked about the master plan the other week. And I know it's something that, you know, one of the downfalls of that whole master plan was it would take one person focused years and years to, you know, implement all of those things. But I can tell you again, what I do know is that we have been cognizant of some of those things out of our office. So when we wrote, and we worked with Public Works and we worked with other departments, tourism, when we were putting together a grant that talked about touching downtown, and it's the RISE RDMS grant that looks at providing some of those things that are mentioned in the master plan, making it more walkable, looking at our signage, looking at our parking, looking at making tourists that do come to town feel welcome and want to spend their money here with our local businesses. So some of those things are, again, small items that I can tell you that I've already had my hands in, and there's a lot more to be done. I know that, and there's a lot more listening for just me personally. I talk about listening to the community. I need to be involved in, I'm doing one-on-one meetings with our team to really get a better handle on what they've been doing and how we can work. Because again, being part of that department, I feel like I know a lot of things, but I know them on a very edge-oriented thing, because I was doing what I needed to do to build processes and to generate funds through grants for the department that I was managing.
Thank you.
Alderman Williams.
Yes, you mentioned the city planner, so for a point of clarity, is he his own entity or is he on your org chart?
He's part of my team.
So
He would be part of the OPED team, excuse me. He is part of the OPED team.
Thank you, Director.
Alderman Carlson.
That was one of my questions. Thank you, Alderman Williams. Amy, I'm going to take a little different approach here. And,
Sure.
and one thing that I harp on and hear from, really I hear from developers a lot, and I've had this conversation with the mayor, is really that whole area of, you know, we're the home estate government. All these buildings are off the tax rolls. We need property tax money. I feel like we're behind the 8 ball to some of these other cities. And you know, we're talking about all these top level great things, and I love it. I hope it all comes to, you know, fruition. But at the end of the day, it's all how we treat and how we go about the processes of when these developers or buildings locate here. I mean, we can, obviously, we recently passed, you know, the Amazon up north. And a few months ago, we recently passed the Frito-Lay down south. And I know from talking to Ryan McCready, other businesses want to come here, but
they're looking how we, obviously at a council or at another level, how we're going to make that easy for these businesses to locate here. So what I'm saying, and without knowing exactly your task, whatever help or you can be on that, we can do all these great plans. Again, we've got to have the basics down before we get to some of the stuff.
Exactly, and that's actually why I hesitate a little bit, I can speak to a lot of things, but I can't speak to some of these specifics. And I'm not shouting any answers, and I don't want to say that I feel like I'm not equipped to move forward in this position. What I feel like is I don't have all of the information I need because I haven't had the opportunity to dig into it. I haven't had the opportunity. I've had a very brief period of time to work with Director Yazel directly on the things that she was working on while she tasked the rest of us in leadership to do the tasks that we were working on. So I am aware of things. I know that there are things to be done and there are plans of action. And I am a firm believer, though, Alderman Carlson, on that you have to have the basics down. And I'm a firm believer that we have to have looking at what impact we can make with what we already have as we're also building on the new.
And we can talk later, but yeah, anything at that basic level, and I'll be happy to send a couple of developers your way that we all probably know that have just sort of, taken a powder for a while until some things are, some more planning and streamlining of some of those processes down low. So thank you.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you. And thank you for your honesty of not
You're
just
welcome.
answering to answer and actually saying that you need to find more information. The one thing I always ask, you're in a new role, you're going to be learning a lot. Please update us outside of budget. Budget is when we hear so much from every department and have to digest a lot of information in one night with various departments. But maybe sometimes throughout the year, just bring a few updates to tell us what's going on. Ryan McCready, he had so much to tell us, and we had to keep on following up on questions because we hadn't heard in a long time what big projects was going on and just how the progress was going. Meeting benchmarks. I think that's very important for
I'm
us.
sorry.
No, you're okay.
Alderman Purchase. In my roles over the rest of throughout my career, this isn't saying, I know you're elected officials, and boards are not the same, but I have spent my career reporting to a board on a monthly basis, if not even, I had a board that I report to on a weekly basis. But I am used to having to be able to provide information about what are we doing, how are we spending our time, what are our goals and objectives, setting those goals and objectives and working toward them. And that is one thing, too, that I didn't speak to. Alderman Gregory, when I talk about my experience, that is one thing I bring too. I am used to, not only do I want to say I want to be listening and I want to communicate and I want to have transparency, but I am used to being charged with that just as a leader, okay? So that goes beyond, going out and hearing coming in. I've been charged with giving that information out too. So I am happy to give reports, give updates to you on a one-on-one basis or whatever it takes, so that you can hear what is happening in your ward, that you can give me feedback toward that on behalf of our team and behalf of the city that I can work with the mayor on, and bring all of that to the table. But I am very used to being accountable to a board of directors who had that opportunity to determine if I had a job or not, if I was meeting those goals, if I was working toward those deliverables, if you want to use that grant word, if you will. But I am very used to having that accountability. And so that's something you will find from me. You also, thank you for acknowledging my honesty. I'm not going to claim that I know every single minutia thing or even some of the bigger things that will happen that I'm going to be responsible for. But I'm going to do my best and bring myself up to speed on that, and then in turn add my own experience and touches to that. And so, and again, I respect Alderman Donelan in saying, don't fill your calendar with so many meetings that you can't put things to action. And that's, again, something that I believe in firmly. You've got to put the feet to the pavement, put the words that are coming out of your mouth to action. So you can't just sit in meetings and talk about what's going to happen. You have to find a way to implement that. So back to your saying yes, sometimes it's hard to say no. Sometimes you want to say yes and you say yes. But I also, one of the books that's done some professional development for me has been a book called The Best Yes. How many times don't we say yes to something, but then it gnaws on us from then and then and then because of what if and what if I'd done that? If I hadn't said yes to this, then I could be doing this, this, and this. So I think sometimes we have to look at the best yes, and we have to look at what's good now and what's good for the future and what's maybe never good. But we can get to that. So I'm a firm believer in the best yes, and then working toward how you can accomplish that.
And Amy, the last thing I wanted to add, so it's a very contentious conversation when it comes to the unhoused population, and we've had multiple presentations from the different agencies, and we've also had a lot of people coming in here to tell us what's going on in these agencies too, and that had never happened before. One of the things that I thought was very frustrating was there was a report that was turned in to this office, but we didn't see it. And I think, I can't remember which, because it was a whole row of them that talked, but one of them said that they turned in a report either monthly, and we never was able to have that information. So I think it is really, really pertinent to not just my ward, because the unhoused population is all over, but it's a lot going on in Ward 5 downtown, between the medical district, and with the master plan too. I'm looking for some of those things within the master plan. I'm hoping during your budget, I know I heard the mayor say when the gentleman came to present the master plan that we really couldn't move forward with a resolution because we didn't have a person in place to implement the plan and follow through. So I hope to see that in your budget too, and I know it's right around the corner, so no pressure.
Right.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'll talk to you about that later.
Yeah.
Alderwoman. Any other discussion? Yes, Alderwoman Notriano.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say the report that Alderwoman Purchase is talking about, it's from HUD. I believe it's the HMIS system, but yeah, we really would like to get those numbers for.
I was at that meeting and I heard that as
Oh,
well.
okay, great.
I have not been in a position where I could research that further,
Yeah.
but I have made a note of it tonight too. I've been taking,
Thank you.
Yeah.
actually been writing
Awesome.
some things down that you've been saying as well.
All right, great, thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
So seeing no other discussion, the voting will now be open. All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. I think it's going to be open.
All good.
She says it will be in 1 minute, or 1 second. All right, we're good. And the motion passes with 9 voting yes, none voting no. Thank you, Amy. Congratulations. Thank you for all you've done. And just on a side note, so you all know, I didn't want to influence anyone's vote, but prior to Amy being hired, the city of Springfield actually got cut off from grant funding through the state because they were mismanaging the grants so poorly. And Amy came in and cleaned all that up, and we got turned on because of Amy. So she's done a very good job of taking something that wasn't working right and fixing it. So I have great faith in her.
Mayor, may I ask which grants were those that we did, or can we send those to Murdoch so we can get a report of which grants those were that?
So we just got red emails from DCEO saying you can't apply for anything, you've been cut off. It really wasn't like anything we lost. We had to get ourselves in a better situation, and then we got, but I can get to you which ones we were in trouble on, if that's what you're asking about.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
I can speak to that just a moment, Mayor, if you would. What it meant was we didn't
Gotta come up to Mike.
I can project. I can speak to that directly. We did not lose those grants. What we were, as you know, most grants, almost all grants are reimbursement grants. What they did was they said that we will shut off reimbursing you for the expenses you are turning in if you don't get these grants turned around, as far as reporting on time and some of the other, grants are all about dotting the i's and crossing the t's. And we were able to, just even putting in, a system where we have a shared drive now. We didn't have a place where, for instance, from my desk, I can look at all the other grants that the city has and be able to look at what those reporting deadlines are, who's responsible for them, who's the subject matter expertise, so we can fill out the reporting accurately and get it accepted by the grant manager. So we were able to do that.
I just think it's important that we know those mistakes, know what organizations made those mistakes, and so we can not repeat those mistakes.
I would say the organization was the city of Springfield that made that mistake.
It was a matter of some things, it was more so not a particular department, but rather a matter of putting a process, a communication tool in place so we had a better tracking. I mean, we started with the big calendar on the wall, making notes about when grants were reporting were due, to the fact that we grew to having a shared drive. One of the first things I asked when I came in the door to the operations coordinator position was, where do we house all the grants? And I opened up a drawer and there were a lot of paper copies. We still need those because sometimes we sit across the desk and we scour those, looking for details, reading the words, reading the fine print, the legal documents, but at the same time, or matching up receipts and things like that we have to turn in for reimbursement. But knowing that we could have for instance, today, the fire department reached out to me and say, we've written a narrative. We are the subject matter experts. I can't write about what firefighters do, but I can help them look at that narrative and try to make sure that the wording is going to be the most enticing and the most telling of the need that we have. And so we've put a lot of that into place, and that's really helped us stay on track.
Thank you, Mayor. Is there any unfinished business to come before the council? Any council members have unfinished business? Seeing none, is there any new business to come before the council? Alderwoman Notriano.
Thank you. Oops, twice, just once. So I got a report from my zone manager that, and I'm guessing this isn't just Ward 6, it's probably across the city, but just to remind the private contractors who do snow removal, is that the curb and the street is not a place for your excess snow to go. Yeah, just don't put your snow, don't plow your snow from a business parking lot into the public right-of-way or on a sidewalk, God forbid. And everyone, please, let's all get out and shovel our own sidewalks if we're able, maybe help a neighbor. But that was one thing that I was asked to point out in particular, so thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Gregory.
Oh, yes. Speaking of snow, don't want no more. But Director Foose, can you speak a little bit about, I will say I was out early, 2 o'clock in the morning, and plowing and snow is such a beast. I can tell you over my years of working with this stuff, it's nuts. You got to time it right and things of that nature. And I think we made improvements from where we were before on plowing and the streets and stuff, but our side streets, and that's the main place. And I get it. We got to wait. We got to get the main streets open and artillery routes open and stuff. But what can we do? I know before we was trying to hire some contractors a little bit to get in those subdivisions and get in those neighborhoods a little quicker. And I say that because, unfortunately, school district got school today, and the state saying everybody stay home. People are still going to work, so people still got to get out of those areas and things of that nature. How to what's your thoughts on that? And I can appreciate it if you don't have it right now.
First of all, let me say that we received about 10 inches of snow, and that is a lot of snow. Talking to some of the folks that have been with Public Works and around for a while. It's been at least 4 or 5, maybe even 6 years since we've had a snow this large. We usually get between 2.5 and maybe 4 inches. Once in a while, we'll get a 6-inch snow. 10 is a lot. And there's a lot of physics involved in that. In 2.5 inches of snow, you can push to the side, and it's going to warm up in a couple of 3 days, and it's gone. We've got 10 inches of snow, and you can't just push that to the side. Eventually, you're going to have to scoop that up and put it somewhere else. And given the extremely cold temperatures that we're going to have, it's not going anywhere till probably the end of next week. Of course, we have to take care of the primaries, and it's based on the volume of traffic. 6th Street, 5th Street, you know, we have a lot of traffic. We've got to keep it open for the police department, for the fire department, for the ambulances, and some people do have to move. People who work at hospitals, people that have jobs in the critical infrastructure have to be able to move. So that's where that's our focus, and we've got to get those open and as uncovered with snow as we possibly can. The next are we call them the secondaries or the secondary mains, and those are the feeders that go into the neighborhoods. Those are your 3-lane, 4-lane streets that allow us to access the places where people actually live and where they work. And we move to those once we've cleared the mains, or opened the mains. I won't want to say cleared. And then, of course, we get into the neighborhoods where people live, and there again, it's based on volume. If you only have 40 cars a day that go into your cul-de-sac or go into your neighborhood, that's not going to be as large a priority when we get 2.5 inches of snow, but certainly not when we have 10. And another problem that we had in this particular storm is we called in the night shift. We knew we were going to get a good amount of snow. On Saturday night, everybody was in place at midnight. The snow really didn't start till about 2 o'clock, but we were able to lay down a good base of salt. So now we've got the pavement, you've got a layer of salt, and the frozen precipitation comes down, so it doesn't adhere to the pavement. So later on, that paid us great dividends that we were able to get out early and address that. Then the snow came, and it snowed, and it snowed, and it snowed. And then Sunday night, it kind of backed off, and we were able to get the mains cleared, get the loose snow off of the mains, and we started moving to the secondaries. And lo and behold, at 2 o'clock in the morning, we got 2 inches of snow, and it was snowing at one point almost 1 inch an hour. So that means we had to go back, and we had to cover the primary. So that kind of set us back on this particular snow. The last day or so, we've been running 12-hour watches from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. That's when we changed, so the guys and gals are working 12 hours a day. The equipment's been holding up pretty good, but we've really been stressing it. And then, at long last, we get into the neighborhoods, and we've got 10 inches of snow. Now, we did bring in Broughton and Sangamo and another contractor to deal with some of the neighborhoods in the outskirts of the city is what we call it. If you got a neighborhood that's close to our depot there on 17th and Clear Lake, it's easy for the guys to get in and out, pick up a load of salt. When you get all the way on the far west side, it's easier to work with the contractors because they have smaller equipment and they can support themselves in the field. But we've been getting a lot of calls on the neighborhood stuff. I've taken a lot of those calls myself, and I understand exactly what you're saying because there's nothing more frustrating than being in your home, the end of the block, and you can see the secondaries in good shape, and I can get to 11th Street. It's no problems, but I can't get from my driveway to the end of the block without going sideways or asking some of the local fellas to give me a push because I'm hung up. It's incredibly frustrating, and it limits us. So I know exactly what you're saying. I've been hearing about that for the last 3 days.
I hear you. So I appreciate your explanation. I just think that, you know, we got to keep working together to try to come up with something for our neighborhoods and things, because I can definitely understand the main arteries and things in the nature, but when we get into the cul-de-sacs and things and that, you know, those areas, it bothers me a little bit. You know, whether it's 5 cars on this street on the east or 30 cars in another area of our community, I feel like they're both important and they both need to get out and go to work. So I appreciate you, my friend, and we'll work together.
We're doing everything that we can, and I'm going to take this opportunity to tip my hat to the men and women who work for Public Works. I am amazed at their can-do attitude and their willingness to, time and time again, to do the things that they have to do to keep our streets open and safe. They've done an excellent job. I couldn't be more proud of them. If you see somebody in one of those goofy kind of dirty shirts that say Public Works, tip your hat to them, because I'm telling you what, they've been working hard.
No, I second that as well. They do a good job and they work hard, and we just keep working. Thank you.
Thank you.
You
Thank
can
you so
stay,
much.
Director. There's some others that signed up to speak. Alderman Hanauer.
Yeah, Director, I just want to thank the men and women of Public Works and Joe Catalano and those guys out the garage. And I will say this, that the contractors that we have made a big difference. I've had very few complaints about snow, which usually about two snowflakes on the ground, I'm getting phone calls. This time, given the amount of snow, it was amazing how quick, overall I think it was the next morning, things were getting pretty cleared. So I really appreciate that. We did have a few streets that were missed that I'll get with you on. I sent it over to Joe Catalano, and he was able to take care of it. But overall, I just want to say thank you. And one of the problems that we have is when in neighborhoods is people park their cars out there, and I know I was talking to Alderman Carlson, there was garbage cans that were out for the next morning's pickup, and the plows are having to go in and out, and it still leaves a lot of snow on the street. So, and then you get the people that blow the snow off their driveway back on the street, and it gets pretty dicey. So, thank you for what your men and women do, and tell them to keep up the good work. I'm proud of them. Thank you.
Alderman Donlin.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Director, I know we've spoken and during, before, and after the snow event, and I can't thank you and your staff and your team enough for the efforts that you put forward, not only out on the streets, which is most important, but informing us of what's going on and how to answer questions. Because let's face it, a lot of times we are the conduit of information for our constituents. But on that front, I want to say this. I used to, and I don't get these kind of calls too much anymore, but used to get the call and from constituents saying, well, my street was missed. I go, what do you mean missed? And they'd say, well, they never plow my street ever. And I would say, well, we could see if we can get that addressed, but can you do me a favor? And they would say, what's that? And I'd say, well, it's June. Why am I hearing about it now? And I mean that sincerely. And so we've worked at making sure that because we have automatic vehicle locators, we can see if a plow has been down the street or not. Your staff, when I've had issues, in particular way out west, cul-de-sacs in particular, where we may miss a street because we don't know if it's in the city or it's just way out on the edge of town, your staff has done a good job of making sure we address those issues. We had one just the other day, a couple days ago, and you were very responsive, and it is appreciated. And I know we always don't get to connect the dots. We're good about giving you the information or giving you the complaint, but it is heard, and there's been a number of, I've received some calls, people in person, and even some online stuff that has been very positive. And this, as you described earlier, was really a historic snow event. We don't have these kind of snow events. Hope we don't have any more this winter, that too often anymore, but appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you, Mayor. Director, I'm not going to repeat any of, I think Alderman Gregory made some really great points about the neighborhoods. I had more neighborhoods who were waiting until late yesterday, early today to get cleared out, and certainly would like to be part of that conversation about making sure we're focusing on those. So I just want to, also, I think we can probably all say this turn after turn, but please share our appreciation, our thanks. I think I forwarded you some emails.
Yes.
With our Public Works crews, because they do a very good job. I know it's not easy, and it's especially when you're talking about 12-hour shifts. So we appreciate that very much. But two very practical questions. My ward was in the region that was supposed to start the branch and Christmas tree pickup this week. Can we just assume that's going to be pushed back a week, or are they starting? Okay.
Yes.
I will just tell you, our dogs require demand walks on a regular basis. And Sunday, I watched piles just disappear. you know? So I know that they're there, they're just hidden by snow. So a week delay would be great for that. And then the second one, because we've talked about this, tracking, and when people call and say, hey, they haven't been here, our website has helped me a lot. That website is not working right now, is that correct?
I believe that has been addressed, but
Has it been
we had
fixed?
difficulty when you and I spoke, yes.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to check on that, because it has been very helpful for me to, you know, when someone calls and says, you know, you haven't been down my street yet, and to be able to look on the website with them and say, actually, they were there at 8 o'clock this morning, and then you got 3 more inches of snow. And it doesn't always, because then it doesn't look like you've been hit. You don't get credit for those, right?
No.
As you said, when you've cleared, and as a mom, I can tell you, I know the feeling of, I just cleaned this mess up, what just happened? So, thank you, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Director Fuchs. I just echo what everyone said, but I also wanted to say thank you to you because you sent us out constant emails updating us on what was going on, the shifts that was taking place, and then your department, they were putting information out on social media so that we could share with our constituents that follow us. So I think everybody did a collective job of sharing information, and just wanted to give you kudos for that. My second thing is not for you, it's for all of us. Just since the 1st of January, I just would be remiss if I didn't ask for a moment of silence. We had a woman who was murdered, who have children, and we just had a gentleman who was murdered, who have children too, and families, and could we take a moment of silence and just really try to work together and work with law enforcement to continue to be proactive and really try to stop the senseless violence that's going on with guns. So if we could have a moment of silence for both of those individuals. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman. And then Alderman Carlson.
Yeah, quickly, Director. Yeah, I want to publicly say thanks to you and your staff.
Thank you.
You know, tremendous. You know, I called you a couple of times. You got right back to me. I did want to mention that there was probably a 30-year resident of one of my older subdivisions, and who routinely calls me, lets me know what's good, what's bad, and he said best he's seen in his, believe it or not, 30 years. In that area, in his older subdivision. So, and also, you know, we all know people around town, and Lake Services apparently did a tremendous job as well. I got a call from somebody out there as well. So, and then I know we've talked about this before. Where are we on the salt supply? Did we have enough salt? Are we okay on salt?
Well, I've made several trips out to the garage over the last few days, and we used, I'm not sure what our count was for today, but in the previous 2 days, we used 800 tons of salt, and we put a dent in what we have, but I have lots left, and we've got another order that's coming in April. So salt, we're good.
Good. Thank you, Director.
Alderman Williams.
Yeah, so is that the new uniform that you and Chief of Staff?
I told him, I finally not only got the memo, I read it.
Good catch, Alderman. I didn't see that.
We looked up and I'm like, wow, so I didn't know if that was coordinator or what.
Good catch.
He wears his better than I wear mine.
And I just want to also personally thank you. A lot of people reached out to the mayor's office complimenting the snow removal. I know I sent you and Joe an email to share with the team, so thank you for your team.
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
It was a great effort, and I just want to emphasize the volume. 10 inches is a lot of snow for us. And it's been a long time since I took physics. That was in high school, and mass and distance and all that sort of stuff. We've had to figure it every single day, but it was a big job, and the men and women of Public Works were up to the task. I just hope we don't have to do it again for a while.
And those of you that are alders for downtown, Public Works actually kept the snow emergency route out till noon today, so they could actually haul snow away from downtown so people could park. So, for those of you that are downtown alder people, you would probably like that, yeah.
We're working at it right now.
Yep. Any other, thank you, Director Fuchs.
Thank you.
Any other
Thank
new,
you.
good job, David. Is there any other new business to bring before the city council from the council? Seeing none, we will go to citizens who have requested to address the city council. First person signed up to speak is Mbana Kintako.
He's not here.
Okay, thank you, Alderman.
No problem.
The next person who is signed up to speak is Carly Crawford.
I don't see her present.
Carly Crawford? No? The next person signed up to speak is Ken Pasha.
So nice, you got to hear from me twice. So, did you guys know that there are 27 minimum locations that I can get manually stimulated by an illegally trafficked sex slave in the city of Springfield? That's right. For the going rate of $100, I can get fellatio, penetration, digital stimulation. These are all normal words, folks. Right now, I can go online and see them. You guys could pass an ordinance to do something about that, but you haven't. You've let them proliferate, just like the exploitive gambling parlors that exist in this town. And it should disgust every one of you that I could go do that right now. I could go less than 5 blocks from here and get it. I could do it right now. And the police have tried to do something about it. You guys have done nothing about it. Because I'll tell you right now, what you expect them to do isn't going to do anything. They clear the girls out, and those madams bring another set of girls in from another city in less than an hour. Those women are beaten, sexually assaulted, raped, drugged, shot, murdered. Their families are threatened with if they say anything. That's all happening right now. 88 Relaxing Massage on South Grand. Maybe you guys could start going after the real estate agents that rent these places out and lease these to these disgusting human traffickers. I mean, that's the kind of thing you could concentrate on instead of railroading a city clerk into office. I mean, that's kind of the problem, guys. If I seem adversarial, it's because you're adversarial. You spend more time on trying to figure out slick ways to get around the rules and tell me, well, that's just what it says in the rules, Ken. We didn't break any laws. When in the reality, laws are being broken every single day right in front of you. You guys drive by these massage parlors every day and you don't even think about it. You can go on Skip the Games, Rub Maps, any of that stuff. You can go find out right now that hundreds of women are being trafficked in your city that you guys are in charge of. The one Chuck has been in charge of for 30 years. So when we seem less than nonplussed with the way things are being run, or less than likely to seem like you guys give a that's kind of why. Because I can literally go right now and go find human trafficking victims and pay less than $100 to be sexually stimulated by them because my city doesn't care. Those things are literally proliferating like trouble with tribbles on a Star Trek episode. And nothing's being done about it because the police can't do a whole lot. They can't force people to come out of those homes, and they're sure not going to get the Johns to speak up now, are they? I mean, I've even offered to go do a sting because it's disgusting to me that these women are being trafficked. You guys could very easily pass ordinances. In fact, I'm pretty sure you have. Where's the enforcement on that? Where's the fines on that? Where's the outcomes on that? Because right now, whenever they leave, those parking lots get full again. This city is full of disgusting rapists. And some of you know them. Some of you are friends with them. You may not know that, but you will when we start exposing them. And that's the kind of thing that upsets me is we have to do that kind of work for you. Because you guys won't do the hard work of enforcing ordinance you've even passed because you didn't even give it any teeth. I mean, that ordinance is meaningless. I mean, all they can do is go put a sticker on the door, and then what? It just means the Johns need to be a little bit more careful about where they park. Cover their faces a little bit more carefully. That's it. And those women are still going to be trafficked tonight. Like right now, in fact. And yet we were more focused on the idea that we had to immediately install a city clerk because it would have killed us all to take another 2 weeks to have a chat about it, right? I mean, that should disgust everyone on this council. And I hope for the aldermen that voted against the installation of our new clerk, I hope you guys take it personal what they did. Because that was a shot against the bow against every single one of you. They don't really care what you think. They might work with you on some things, but the reality is they just railroaded that through. They met without you. They talked about it behind closed doors, and then they went ahead in front of all of us and ran that train straight through the station. I hope you are as difficult and obstructionist and fight like hell against the things they want, because they don't give a damn about what you want. Quite frankly, I've never even seen my street get shoveled or plowed or anything. Again, I've been a city resident for almost 40 plus years. And I'm not going to get into where I live, although anyone can Google it. It's pretty publicly available. But I think the simple fact is I ask myself all the time why in Toni Morrison's famous words, we follow the law of the bluest eye. Because there is a favoritism and a privilege that is allowed to the white groups in this country, in this city, and in this society, that if it were white women being trafficked like that, people would be crawling over themselves to save those poor women. But since they're from another country and they don't speak English and they can't vote for you and they don't have any money for your coffers, they get raped multiple times a day in this city. I hope you'll do better.
Thank you, sir. The next person I need to bring up, sorry, I didn't know my microphone was working. Lori McKiernan, I apologize for stumbling over my words. I want to apologize to you. Alderman Carlson brought to my attention that we should have brought you up at the previous meeting, so I need to apologize to you, Lori.
You know, honestly, I'm not surprised. The whole lead up to this special meeting tonight was a cluster from it being on the website, not being on the website, the agenda's there, the agenda's not there. The newsletter on Thursday said the next meeting is on Tuesday, and then the link to it pointed to a Monday meeting. The whole lead up has just been a mess, so I'm not surprised I got missed. So anyway, I'm going to skip my typed up notes tonight. Most of that was my opinion on why Chuck Redpath should not be our city clerk, but at least now we can be fairly sure that he's going to sit through a whole meeting. My handwritten notes, I want to start with thanking the alders who did fight for a process and push their colleagues to do the right thing. So to you junior council members, I really appreciate you supporting your constituents, and I appreciate you pushing your colleagues to do the right thing. So the whole meeting, the whole special meeting was appalling and disgusting and corrupt. So I'm appalled at all of you that voted against moving this back to committee. You had the option, you had the opportunity to do the right thing, and you chose not to do it. I'm appalled that Mr. Redpath was able to vote on his own appointment. That is just mind-boggling. I'm appalled to think that some of you thought this was comparable to approving a stop sign. I've never voted for a stop sign. I did vote for city clerk, and I think it's appalling that you compared that to that situation. I'm very disgusted that some of you think that you are more privileged and have more priority for the city clerk job than the rest of the public. To me, that just shows your disdain for the residents and your constituents. So I'm disgusted, I'm angry. Anger pushes me to action. So for all of you who voted against sending this back to committee, you all need to be voted out, and I'll do everything I can to make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The next person signed up to speak is Robert Frazier.
Good evening and Happy New Year. It's been some day, some night. Of course, as soon as I get up here, I lose my place, right? Robert Frazier, Executive Director of Clean Slate Advocates, 501c3 non-for-profit organization dedicated to providing clean laundry solutions for the underserved communities. In addition to laundry services, CSA also offers access to community resources, including workforce development, mentorships, and training programs. CSA excels at creating an environment of respect and non-judgment. We are building trust and forming meaningful relationships is the heart of our approach. By providing access to state-of-the-art clean and safe laundry facility, we ensure that each visit allows us no less than 1 hour to connect with the community members. Since the launch of our program in the fourth quarter of 2023, CSA has processed over 1 million loads of laundry, all free of charge for those in need. Provided below is the actual reimbursable budget for November 24. Washer and dryer usage, $33,516.25. Soap, dryer sheets, and bleach is $2,827. Employee cost, $6,107.81. People served, 4,012. Average spend per person is $10.37. Average monthly household income, $991.81. Average household size is 3.1. Ethnicity, Black. 59.2% of our clients are Black. 27.8 are white. 3.6 are Black and white. 1.5% are Hispanic, and so on. Our December 24 numbers are being finalized here shortly. I just want to say that I went to the meeting that OPED had that was going to do what they're going to do for the next 5 years. There's $1.2 million for the Ward 2 and 3 to fix houses, roofs, to do economic development, to build businesses, to fix roads, take down trees. Everybody here knows that's impossible. It is impossible to spend $1.2 million per year to make a difference in our community. This is a joke, what you guys are doing to the community that most needs it. We are not building any businesses. You talk about development. The only development they want to do in Ward 2 and 3 is public housing. Why? Because it involves federal money, and they get their money right up front. There's nobody that's going to assist a Black-owned and operated business to really build a business that is meaningful, that's making money. We can't change a light bulb for the city. We got to hire in another company that is not even in this city to come and help change light bulbs. I don't know how many Black contractors did any kind of plowing. Can we do anything? Can we do anything to earn a living to take care of our families? We are not getting any support. Now, you guys got to help me understand. Is it true or not true that you get federal funding to support the community that can't support itself? Is this true or is it not true? My opinion, it's very true. There's some $20–30 million that comes into this city to support the underserved community, and it never makes it. It never makes it to where it needs to be. So what are we going to do about it? I'm listening to everything that we do here. We got $1 million for this and $600 for that and this and that. None of this supports our community. None of it. If we do not have a part of the economic opportunity to do for ourselves, we get laughed at. We get disrespected. We don't count. We don't matter. And it's terrible to watch it. It's terrible to see it every single day. It makes absolutely no sense that there is no funding to help us build businesses that you all come to and support. It is 2025. It needs to stop. And it needs to stop now. I know we have a lot of experience up here, and then we have some young folks. But I talk to these young people that come into the laundromat, and I ask these young folks, why do you need help? You know what they tell me? Because I can't get a job. I made a mistake. I can't do any better for myself. What would you like to do? I'll drive, I'll do anything. I try to build mentorships with these businesses, our local. No businesses have any interest in reaching out to an underserved community to get people employed. Why is that? I mean, are we just trying to wipe these people off the map? Do we just need to have it, just take the whole side of it, the east side of our community, and just let it die?
Thank you for your time, sir. Thank you.
We can do better.
That's all we have signed up to speak.
I signed up. Motion to adjourn.
I signed up for both meetings.
Motion and a
As did
second.
Bree.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those
Oh
in
my
favor
God,
say
are
aye.
you kidding me? Y'all disrespectful.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
That's how it's gonna be. All right. Oh my God.
That's it.
Public access for those OMA violations. How many lawsuits you guys will get by the end of the year? It's just starting though, right?
check it out.